Hi, guys. Hold on. Let me make sure we have volume. Always use this computer and it's different. Okay, we're good. It's different than my other ones. All right, so welcome. This is a little bit of a spur of the moment, but I wanted to share some things. So, things come to me in moments that I don't expect. But I wanted to share the basics of this reality and how it kind of blends in with the mindset and manifesting that I'm always talking about. So, some of you may have heard the story about where one night I walked in my room and there was a wall in my room. And I suddenly today had a reflection from various TV shows that we may or may not have seen, where the people are either lying asleep or they are in stasis, or even in Lucifer, he has the vision of hell where everyone is like in their own little world or a little box. Is any of this sounding familiar? And so the that thought initiated um, partially this conversation, and also because I was going to share like a summary lesson for mindset training. I believe it's very important for us to realize who we are, because if we don't know who we are and we're just going around doing things because people tell us that they work, then I think we're flying blind a little bit. So I'm just want to back up a couple of steps. Over the years, I had the opportunity to study various origins of mankind, everything from the aliens to the Anunnaki to the wingmakers. If you've heard of any of these things, I suggest that you do a little research and just see what resonates with you. Because some people believe that it's all made up and it's all make believe. Someone was drinking late one night, and you know this is what came upon them. But unfortunately, well, fortunately, I've had the opportunity to walk through the steps and the journey of thinking more about these situations that we sometimes hear about. There's also our Orion ancestors, the queen and her naughty children. Um, these are also stories that I've heard. And so one day when I was in a bookstore, it hit me like a wave of information. And what I realized is that all stories are true. And so later, because of this revelation and resonance that I felt with this thought that I had, I read into information that basically said the same thing. There is no fiction. All stories are true. Because in my mind at the moment, I went from all stories are true to, well, the authors, they have to live the story because they have to write the story, just like with a TV show. They're living it, they're writing it, they're going over it, they're reviewing, they're focusing on it. And my mind technically is set technical, right? And so initially, that's what I thought that it meant. I wasn't, I can't say that I initially thought it was like the real deal, right? And so it happened again when I was in the library. I had the same thought. All of these stories are true, whether they're labeled fiction or whether they're labeled not fiction. And then I started to go back to the histories that I read, the Atlanteans and the Anunnaki and all of this stuff. And so I had the opportunity to study these things over a long period of time, even before recently when it started kind of clicking together, right? Um, so the point is that we're not who we believe ourselves to be. We're not where we believe ourselves to be, but it's really your decision who you want to be still. But when it comes to the mechanics of the situation, we could easily be in stasis. We could easily be, you know, somewhere like in that room that night. In case you missed the story, I was in that room. I came I came into my bedroom and there was a massive wall suddenly in my room. But I didn't see it till I lay down. And it was there. It was clear, yet it had gold sparkles. It was like see through, but it was beveled, right? So it has a shape to it. It had like a glitter to it. And I was like, it was the first time I'd stayed up really late. And, but it was real. I mean, it was as though I could still see it like right here, right now. And I didn't know what it was. But I kind of felt the next day when I was thinking about it that it was showing me this is where I really was in the scheme of reality. And I've never focused too much on it, but I keep coming back to it because I believe it's a clue for us all and for me to share that it's important to know what we're dealing with. Okay. So if we take this mental attitude of not being where we think we are, I'm going to go to the next step. So the next step is everything we believed may not exactly be true. However, we were taught basics. We were taught about hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, and smelling. And so over our lives, this is what we have focused on. A lot of visual, a lot of smells. We like to touch each other and to have soft hands. And, we've done all of this. But the thing about all of this is because it was our focus. This is what we know. We've heard of people who have that sixth sense, right? But they're always considered special, right? And in reality, or in the scheme of things, they're just more open to what's really happening in this realm. Okay. And so I'm going to deem it the mental realm just to be non-specific, right? Lately, I've been calling it ish because it's not here or there. It just is. We are consciousness. We're not in it. We are it. And so I ran into a visual the other day, of course, because I'm always thinking about these things. And it's like a image of the energies inside of us, and they're like connecting with each other. And so that's a good way of looking at it. So think of consciousness as a cloud, and if you look in the cloud, you can see human shaped bodies coming out of the cloud constantly, right? And that would be us. And so, because we are consciousness, we are source, we are God, we are creator. We're constantly, moving and changing, and each word, the thought that we have, is taking us down a different track, a different direction. If you continue, no matter how you continue your thought, you're still going in a different direction. Or, of course, a thought that is sustained will take you in that direction. And that's leading me to talk about the manifesting. Manifesting sometimes is made to seem as something different and special that, we have to concentrate and focus on. And instead, it's something we're always doing. Like I manifested this opportunity to chat with you today because I was going to chat with you anyway. But I wasn't sure about going live because that wasn't really the purpose. But I realized when I got over here, short of using my phone, that was really the only option. So we'll have to use this for what I was going to do. But it's fine because it's all the same information. So when we say manifesting, my mind always thinks of something that's constantly happening, like something you have to do constantly. But when I ran into a teacher who talked about law of assumption, and the law of assumption is the manifesting we have always done. Why? Because we've always assumed certain things about our life. We assume if we live in a certain part of the country, then certain weather patterns would happen. If we are with a certain type of family, then we will have a certain experience. We don't always step back and make a decision ourselves. We allow the flow of what we believe to be reality. However, we have the opportunity to stop what is the flow that we are not maybe in agreement with and go in our own way. Okay. And so that's what manifesting is what it really is about. Is stopping what you're doing and making a new habit, making your own flow for yourself. So that would be if you wanted to have a business, but no one in your family had a business, and you maybe were raised in a way that you thought, well, I can never have a business. My family's never had a business, right? But you can stop that thought and make a new thought. Well, you know what? My friend had a business. He's in a different family, but he said that I can do it too. And just, you can move to the idea of wanting a business. Okay. And so if you wanted a business, as an example, uh, now knowing that you have the choice, that uh, you have the power to do it. You may think you don't have the talent, but it's okay because in manifesting, things come together after you decide the desire. Okay. And I want to speak quickly on desires, right? Desires come from eternity. We may feel like they come from our minds or from who we're hanging around with or what we're watching, but I personally believe that desires are breadcrumbs from eternity, something we brought with us, something that's already inside of you as a child, right? To be nurtured as you move about in your path. Okay. Now that's my take on desires. So when you suddenly desire to have a business, I believe it's already there. It's already done, but you have to claim it as done and decide exactly what kind of business that you want. Clarify it. Write it down. Write down. I would like a jewelry business, and I would like to make amazing, delicate hand, what do you call it, limited edition jewelry. And I would like it to be like high class, all gemstones, rubies, and amethyst, and real diamonds. Write it all down, right? And as you're writing it, you can imagine that it's already true. Like my jewelry is sold for $1 million to a famous movie star. Just live in that moment, and that's part of how uh, we do these things automatically. Um, but we don't even always understand how it affects the entirety of things. I have an example coming to me of the show that I love, Dynasty, right? And Alexis is talking to herself and she's saying, well, what is her name? Melania? I'm sorry, the president's wife. Thanks for coming to the wedding, and she's just, she's posing and posing and she's thanking all these famous people for coming to her daughter's wedding. Well, the way that she imagines things is how we should imagine things in our mind. We imagine that these things are true. But don't stop there. Believe that they're true, because in the unseen reality, it can happen if you take some time and go back and focus. So you wrote this paragraph about what you wanted to happen. And then you're just like, oh man, I was just daydreaming. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can go back, read over it, decide how much you like it, edit it, whatever you want to do to it, and then make a statement out of it as if it's true. And so you can take all of that and make a statement like, I have a successful, high quality jewelry business, and put your focus on that. And that's how you can manifest it, by creating the assumption. And the more you get into it, like, you know what? I have a high quality, successful jewelry business. The more time and energy you realize, the more the opportunities for this will come to you. And, sometimes it really doesn't take much, because I really feel like our breadcrumbs, and I know our desires are seeking us out, right? Where you go, what you think, the people that you hang around with, they're all like feeding into this desire that you've like maybe had in the back of your mind. You definitely brought it with you. I'm totally convinced of that. But you had it in the back of your mind and you just didn't want to mess with it because it seemed too big. Like, oh my God, I could never do that. My family members never did that. They think I'm crazy for even thinking that I can have a business. But if it's there and it's calling to you, listen to me. You know, that is how things come into being. Is that you start listening to, what do they call that still small voice? It's your desire. It's like, pinching you. Listen to me over here. Hey, hey, hey. And it wants to be embodied. Because it's for you. It's been waiting for you all these years to get to this point. you know. But once you claim it as yours, don't go backwards. Once you say it's yours, go from I want the business to I have the business, and allow it to be embodied through you in this realm, and allow yourself to enjoy the process of all the things that are coming your way, and saying, hey, look here, hey, look there. But obviously you want to go through each one, and um, see how you think it's going to work. And you can't really lose your desire. You can delay it. You can delay it over time, just because maybe you're not as in the flow as you maybe should be when it comes to things, because you might still have nagging doubt on this side going, I don't know, it seems kind of crazy. But I do not believe it will stop it from happening, because again, I believe it came with you. Your desires are only for you. Everyone may have a version of your desire, but it won't be your exact desire. I want to give an example of something that I had a desire for. If you're on my channel, you probably might hear it in a couple videos, but it's just such a good example of how something I had a desire for inside of me, um, that came to life. Okay, so I decided that I wanted to be elegant. What is elegance, right? Now I wonder. But so I just decided one day, and I started telling myself, this is an example of how you can make an assumption that I am elegant. And so every now and then I would to myself. And it took, wow, I don't think it was more than a couple weeks, maybe a month, but it wasn't consistent. It wasn't like a big focus. It was just something I would say to myself as I was sitting in the diner, the coffee shop or wherever. And so one day I was leaving a place that I like to hang out at, and someone was having a conversation with me. And then we were done with the conversation. But as I got ready to leave, she stops me. And I came back over and she says, Renee, say, you're always so elegant. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you. And so as I was on the way to my car, I was like, oh my God. This is something I'd only said to myself. I mean, really, how many conversations are you going to get into where you talk about being elegant? Really, it's not like there was something I was normally talking about. Hold on one second. Sorry, sinus drainage. Um, and so that was the first time that it was said to me. Later on, there was someone else who I never mentioned it to that said the same thing. And later on, there was someone else. And I can't say that I kept on saying it. It was kind of like already out in the consciousness, you know. Um, but that is like the simplest example of how you can assume something about yourself, um, and allow it to come into the reality of, into your daily life, right? Into your 3D, right? And so to specify that sometimes when you're claiming these things, just remember it's not just saying words. It is, it actually is just a reminder of what you have claimed. Okay. And it is real. The unseen realm is as real or maybe more real than this physical reality that we've been taught to interact with. Um, it is it's everything, right? So everything that maybe is physical is also non-physical. Yeah, that just came to me. So anyway, it's important to realize that. So if you have something that you have wanted, stop wanting it right now. Decide it's yours. Write down how much you enjoy it. And I'm giving extra steps because not everybody just wants to decide. There may be more to it. It may be a car. It may be that you want to get your bills paid off. Um, so decide how that's going to feel by writing it down and then make a statement from it as your assumption and realizing um, that you have always done this, right? Realize that you are consciousness and what you are putting out into consciousness through your mental facilities is being picked up, I believe, by other consciousness, obviously, because we're all one big flow, right? We have the opportunity to be in bodies right now. I believe we've always been one. Um, but I also have a belief, maybe this is just my belief, that it is this particular realm that is this way, and that we have this opportunity because of this level of existence. And then the other dimensions have their own version. And then I believe overall, there's like where we came from in eternity is like a separate existence. So our time here is about adventure. And now that you know you can do and have your desires, I want you to feel free to go for it, right? The only warning that I have is be nice to people. Don't choose a desire to go against someone, because another part of this realm is the mirror, the mirror part of the realm. What you're creating is a mirror of what you're putting out, right? So if you're putting out something that's naughty, that will always also come back to you. Maybe not in this incarnation, but why take a chance? If you're have something against someone, why don't you just decide to think good thoughts about the person and realize how that will affect them more easily, and then you'll be able to see from your perspective how that can actually change them. And it works. It does work. Thinking better thoughts about people that you feel like you're rubbing against the wrong way works easily. Just have better thoughts about them. Whatever you think may have been a bad thing about them, turn it around, make it a good thing, and you will see them line up. Um, they'll line up in your eyes, and you'll see a difference. I've done that too. So, guys, I don't want to hold you too long. Let me just verify that I've covered my points. A little bit of who we are, a little bit about manifesting. And I guess I should let me make sure that I covered a little bit how this is all mindset because of the mental realm. You can also, let me give you one more thing. You can set a default for your thoughts because we're always thinking and we just don't always catch every thought. If you find yourself in a way that maybe seems, let's just say, not positive, um, go ahead and set a default to what you want to use for your default thought. Okay. It could be anything. I don't care what it is. You decide what it is. My default thought is I am amazing. And so if I find myself drifting down a path, just, randomly, because again, we're all connected, and sometimes the thoughts that come our way might not even be our thoughts, right? Um, so I do have an example of how this helped me one night. I had been online a while, and something came across my, what do you call it, stream, that something that I don't like to see. And so it kind of caught me off guard. And I immediately went into my default thought, right? And like within seconds, something caught my attention from the other room. The other room. And I was thinking, I'm amazing. I'm amazing. I'm amazing. And like a few seconds later, from the other room, someone said, she's amazing. Guys, this is so real. Okay. I hope that you understand the reason that I start with a little about the basics, and I can go way more into our background than I probably should be able to. I just had a lot of years online. um, but, to know that we are our consciousness, and to know that we have the control and that we are the God, and we can set ourselves up for success at every moment. You can change your thought to a better thought, and you can focus on that better thought. And whatever it was before will just fall away over, what we call time, even though that doesn't exist. But I'm going to stop before I start a whole new topic. And so I just hope that you were able to get something out of this. Feel free to leave comments, and I will get back with you. And most of all, make it an amazing day.